The world of HDR and HDR toning is all about illumination. It's about working with your files in creative ways to come up with ways to brighten and add contrast and color with unique and distinct looks. Well, here with this photograph, we're going to do something in this vein, yet we're going to do something completely different. And what we're going to do here is we're going to work with a filter which is called high pass and also some blending modes in order to come up with a creative way to create a unique and distinct look. So you can think of this movie as a bit of a bonus movie. You can think of it as continuing on with what we know about high pass in a completely different way. Alright, well for starters, we need to copy this background layer. To do that, let's press Command or Control J. Next, let's name this new layer HP for high pass. From here, we'll go ahead and navigate to our filter pull-down menu and then select Other and then high pass. Now with this high pass filter, what we want to do is bring our radius all the way down and then incrementally increase that radius until we see things that start to glow, because we're thinking about illumination here. Do you notice as I hit this point right about here, we can really see that glow start to take place. As we increase this more and more, we're going to see more and more of a glow. Now we don't want to go too far, but we want to find that point where we're just starting to see some nice glow. Alright, next step, click OK to apply that. Well, here we can see that we have this effect. We can also see we have some color, yet it doesn't look very interesting. Well, what we're going to do is apply a blending mode to this, and it's going to actually look worse, but stick with me. Alright, we'll go ahead and choose the luminosity blending mode here. Now we can see we have this kind of muted, glowy type of aesthetic. Well, with this luminosity blending mode turned on, I now want to merge everything to the top. To merge these two layers to the top, we can use a shortcut. On a Mac, that shortcut is Shift-Option-Command-E. On Windows, Shift-Alt-Control-E. Let's name this Merged. Alright, well we can turn off the visibility of our high pass layer. And now we've merged these two layers to the top. Well, what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go down to choose one of our blending modes, in particular, Soft Light. So now when we choose this Soft Light blending mode, what we're going to get is this really interesting aesthetic. Take a look. Here we have that before and now the after. So not only do we have interesting color saturation, but we have a little bit of a glow. Again, before and then after. Now if you want more of that glow effect, you can just simply increase that high pass radius to give even higher results. Or you can also duplicate this layer. If we duplicate this layer and then lower the opacity, let's lower it perhaps down to something like 30 or 40. We can see that we now have an increased effect, our before and then after. Increased color saturation, also increased a little bit of the glow. And if we zoom out perhaps a bit more, we can see that even more clearly. Here's the before and then the after. And in this case, it has a little bit of that HDR toned aesthetic, except we accomplish this in a completely different way. And just as a refresher, what we did was we first duplicated our background layer. We then applied a high pass filter to this layer, and we started off on our normal blending mode. Next, we took that blending mode to luminosity. Once we were on luminosity, we then merged to top using a shortcut. Shift-Option-Command-E on a Mac, Shift-Alt-Control-E on Windows. Then with that merge layer, we changed our blending mode to soft light. And then from there, we looked at how we could duplicate the layer to increase the effect, and we experimented a little bit. And of course, there are other ways to experiment as well. You could always go ahead and try your overlay blending mode if you wanted an even more punchy, a more illuminated type of aesthetic. Take a look at the difference. There's overlay, and then there's soft light. Alright, well as you can see, we can use this particular technique to come up with some interesting and creative results. Once again, let's take a look at this. Here's the before and then after.